For 3,000 cycles, the Catharak ruled the Orion Arm. 9 feet of scaled muscle, with razor-sharp claws and a hunter's instinct, they were the undisputed apex predators of the galaxy. Their empire spanned 47 systems, and every species they met either bent the knee or was wiped from existence. From the bridge of his warship, the Bloodfang, Commander Vexler gazed at the blue-green marble below. Earth, home to a species that had just barely mastered faster-than-light travel. Their first target? A tiny mining colony on a moon in a neighboring system. "They are primitives," Vexler S., second-in-command, hissed. "Their vessels are slow. Their weapons are crude. This will be over before dawn." It was a familiar pattern. Scout, strike, harvest, repeat. Humanity, Vexlar thought, would be no different. The Catharak fleet descended upon Titan Station with overwhelming force. The battle should have lasted minutes. It raged for 6 hours. The humans fought with a ferocity that stunned the veteran Catharak warriors. When their ships were disabled, they turned them into battering rams. When they ran out of ammo, they weaponized mining tools. When their habitats were breached, they fought on in the cold vacuum of space until their last breath. Vexler watched in stunned silence as a lone engineer, trapped in a cargo hauler, deliberately destabilized its reactor, taking a Catharak frigate with him into oblivion. "They sacrificed themselves," his tactical officer whispered, deliberately. The Catharak won, but the cost was staggering. 3 warships and over 200 warriors lost for a minor outpost. Word of the attack reached Earth in hours. The United Terran Defense Force mobilized with a speed that defied belief. What the Catharak, and indeed the entire galaxy, failed to grasp was that humanity had spent 10 millennia perfecting the art of war against the most dangerous enemy they knew, themselves. They hadn't just studied tactics. They had lived them. World wars, nuclear standoffs, and countless conflicts had forced them to innovate or die. When the Catharak fleet arrived at Earth 3 weeks later, they expected a terrified planet ready to surrender. What they found was a trap. The orbital approaches were seeded with thousands of kinetic mines, simple, undetectable chunks of metal moving at near-light speed. The Catharak's advanced sensors, designed to spot energy signatures, were blind to what were essentially high-velocity rocks. The first wave lost 18 ships before they even got into weapons range. Then came the human fighters. Small, fast, and swarming the massive dreadnoughts like angry hornets. They were too numerous, too agile for the heavy guns to track. Each fighter carried crude but devastatingly effective nuclear-tipped missiles. How? Vexler roared as his fleet was torn apart. They should be cowering, begging for mercy. His communications officer looked up, her eyes wide with fear. "Commander, I've been monitoring their transmissions. They're not afraid, they're angry." The Catharak's fundamental miscalculation was assuming a young species would respond to aggression with submission. They didn't understand that humanity's entire history was a story of refusing to submit. The tide of the battle turned when the human fleet from Mars arrived, led by Admiral Rodriguez, a veteran of brutal internal conflicts. They unleashed tactics the Catharak had never conceived of. Feints, ambushes, and false retreats that lured Catharak warships into perfectly laid kill zones. But it was the psychological warfare that truly shattered the invaders' morale. The humans broadcasted messages across all frequencies, not pleas for peace, but cold, clinical promises of vengeance. They described, in horrifying detail, what they would do to the Catharak homeworld, and they meant every single word. Commander Vexler had hunted on dozens of worlds. He understood fear. It was a weapon, but this wasn't fear. This was something else. This was a terrifying mix of determination and pure, unadulterated creativity in the art of destruction. These beings didn't just fight to survive. They fought to win, and would burn down the universe to do it. A battle of Earth ended after 3 days. Vexler barely escaped with his flagship, limping home with the shattered remnants of his fleet. For the first time in 3 millennia, the Catharic Empire had been decisively defeated. An emergency council was convened. What are they? One council member demanded. The answer came from their chief xenobiologist. They are persistence predators. On their world, they hunted not by being faster or stronger, but by simply never giving up. That refusal to quit is encoded in their very DNA. The Catharic Empire, for the first time in its history, sent a diplomatic envoy instead of a war fleet. They proposed a treaty, non-aggression pax, anything to avoid another war with humanity. The humans accepted, but on their own terms. The Catharic would withdraw, pay reparations, and submit to monitoring. And they agreed. Word spread across the galaxy. The unstoppable apex predators had been humbled. Humanity wasn't the strongest or most advanced species, but they were the one you never, ever wanted to fight. Because humans, as the Catharic learned too late, have one quality that trumps all others. They simply refuse to lose. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.